First of all, I want to say forgive me for the delay. The delay on, just the delay. I want to say I had to first of all I had to get strength. I had to get strength enough to do this without breaking. I must say thank you. I must say thank you to every voice, every opinion, all the care, all the love, and the support out there. Your words turned into arms and it held me up.
Lil Wayne has undoubtedly made a mark as one of the greatest rappers in history. His influence on the hip-hop genre is undeniable. For over 2 decades, Wayne has been a driving force in shaping rap music, with fans often hailing him as one of the best. However, in recent years, things have taken a different turn. Wayne's influence, once revered, has faced criticism, especially after his latest album, The Carter 6. This album, which many anticipated eagerly, has left fans wondering, why has hip-hop seemingly turned its back on Lil Wayne? Let's rewind a bit to understand why. First, we need to look at the legacy that Wayne built. His Carter series is iconic in its own right. The Carter one, released in 2004, sold over 878,000 units, followed by the impressive Carter 2 with 1.4 million sales in 2004-2005. The Carter 3 in 2008 sold a staggering 3.8 million units, and the Carter 4 in 2008. 2011 reached 2.3 million sales. Each of these albums, despite varying opinions on their content, sold incredibly well, cementing Wayne's place in rap history. The Carter albums became benchmarks for success in hip-hop, with Wayne constantly pushing boundaries and influencing not just rap, but the culture around it. The excitement for the Carter 6 was palpable. Fans expected another installment of greatness from Wayne, but when the album dropped, it didn't live up to the hype. Critics and fans alike tore the album apart, calling it underwhelming and disappointing. Many had high hopes that this album would remind listeners why Lil Wayne earned his legendary status, but instead, they were met with lackluster performances, weak production, and a feature list that didn't excite many. The disappointment wasn't just about a bad album, it was about the expectations and the history Wayne had set for himself. People expected more. They wanted the Wayne who delivered hits effortlessly, who brought energy and innovation to every track. Instead, what they got was an album that felt as if it was trying too hard, with songs that didn't match the caliber of his earlier work. In fact, one of the most painful reviews came from the fans themselves on Twitter, where they made fun of the album and its tracks. One fan humorously pointed out, "You know the album is trash when nobody argues on the timeline." Wayne, however, wasn't just getting backlash from his fans. The hip-hop community began to question his relevance. It wasn't just about the music anymore. It was about the image of Lil Wayne, the artist who was once invincible, now facing critique from every direction. Fans pointed out that Wayne's performances had become lackluster as well. He was accused of putting in little effort during live shows. His live performances, once the stuff of legends, had begun to seem tired. There were even videos circulating online where Wayne had walked off stage mid-concert, leaving the audience disappointed. All of this added fuel to the fire when Wayne's much-anticipated performance at the Super Bowl didn't materialize. When Kendrick Lamar was announced as the headliner for the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show, Wayne expressed his disappointment publicly. He posted on Instagram and shared his frustrations, feeling that he deserved the spot. Fans, however, were not entirely on Wayne's side. Many pointed out that Wayne had been given multiple chances before and had dropped the ball. Some even argued that his performances weren't up to par to warrant such an iconic spot. Wayne, frustrated with the snub, continued to speak out about it, but his fans were starting to grow tired of the drama. Kendrick, on the other hand, had become one of the most celebrated figures in hip-hop. His rise to prominence was meteoric, and his ability to balance critical acclaim with commercial success made him a natural choice for the Super Bowl. Wayne's frustration was further exacerbated by Kendrick's open admiration for him, which was evident throughout Kendrick's career. Yet, despite this admiration, Kendrick had been given the chance to perform at the Super Bowl, while Wayne had not. It felt like a slap in the face to Wayne, but what many fans didn't appreciate was the way he handled the situation. Instead of gracefully supporting Kendrick, Wayne's bitterness seeped through, and fans began to criticize him for being entitled. The situation worsened when Kendrick released a track that many perceived as a subtle jab at Wayne. In Whacked Out Murals, Kendrick rapped, "Used to bump the Carter 3, I held my rolly chain proud." In this line, Kendrick reminisced about his admiration for Wayne's music, but also hinted that Wayne's style had become outdated. This further rubbed salt into Wayne's wounds, as it seemed like a critique of his recent behavior. The line, "I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down," seemed to allude to the disappointment Kendrick felt about Wayne's public outbursts. Wayne, not one to back down, responded on Twitter, claiming that he had done nothing to deserve such disrespect. The exchange continued, and while both artists remained relatively professional, the fans picked sides. The situation became a major talking point in hip-hop, with many arguing that Wayne's antics had overshadowed his musical talent. Even with this tension, the two artists ultimately reconciled, with Wayne admitting that he had no ill will toward Kendrick. However, many fans felt that Wayne's behavior over the past months had tarnished his legacy, and that was something difficult to undo. This incident wasn't just about the Super Bowl or Kendrick, it was about Wayne's entire approach to his career. It seemed as if he was so consumed by the idea of maintaining his position at the top that he lost sight of what had made him great in the first place. Lil Wayne didn't need to keep reminding the world that he was the greatest of all time. His music, his creativity, and his energy spoke for themselves. The fans knew who he was and why he was considered one of the best. Instead, the Carter 6 felt like Wayne was trying to prove something, trying to hold on to a title that he no longer needed to claim. In his efforts to stay relevant and reclaim his throne, Wayne had inadvertently alienated his fans. His inability to evolve with the changing times, his entitlement, and his public complaints had created a rift between him and the very people who had once adored him. The Carter 6 wasn't just a flop in terms of music, it was a missed opportunity for Wayne to reassert himself as a pioneer in the game. That said, Wayne's legacy still stands tall. His influence on hip-hop cannot be erased. From his early mixtape days to his incredible run with the Carter series, Wayne has shaped the sound of modern rap. He popularized the melodic, auto-tune style that many of today's artists rely on. His presence on the scene, especially in the 2000s, helped define an era in hip-hop. Artists like Drake, Nicki Minaj, and Kendrick Lamar owe much of their success to the blueprint Wayne laid down. But as Wayne continues to age and grapple with the changing landscape of hip-hop, it's clear that his time at the top might be behind him. It's hard to say what the future holds for Lil Wayne. The Carter 6 may be a bump in the road, and Wayne could very well bounce back with more heat. But for now, it seems as if his place in hip-hop is no longer as secure as it once was. Wayne has had a legendary career, but perhaps it's time for him to step back, reflect, and let the music speak for itself once again. He doesn't need to fight for his position anymore. The world knows who Lil Wayne is, and it's time for him to show that again through his music and not through constant battles. Whether he can do that, only time will tell. But for now, fans are left wondering what happened to the Lil Wayne they once knew and loved.